Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. And I like how you like the intro. So people be
Dude,
trying to nod, but like you get into it. Like,
dude,
I,
Aaron, that was awesome. I got to ask you off camera where you got that intro from. That was baller, man. I
oh,
really enjoyed that.
appreciate you. It was one of my guys, Mark. I'll send you his a link because he's actually a video editor and everything.
Yeah, that
That's a
was
great
that
guy.
was sick, dude. And you got me hungry with those tacos, dude. I'm not even gonna lie.
We're almost got to my question, but I got to give you the proper introduction. So, my guest right here, he has the over 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. Your number one source for mock drafts, redrafts, and everything like that. And is the co-host of ASN Podcast with your guy Dan. So I got my special guest, the mock draft guy. How's it going, bro?
Dude, man, I'm so happy to finally be back talking with you. That's like the number one thing. I'm really honored that you had me on your show, dude, and I'm excited to talk football for sure. I mean, we're so close. This will be coming out on Labor Day, but we're recording this on Friday night, and it's less than a week away, dude. I'm so excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just ready for football because it feels like it's long away, but when it's there and you get into it, you're like, man, I'm enjoying this. And then next thing you know, it's February, and you're like, man, it's
That's
gone.
it, dude. We have no idea how good we have it. It's like the I don't even know how long like the season would be. Say it's like I don't know. Say it's like 23 or 24 weeks, whatever it may be. It's probably even less than that. But it goes by like that, and then the rest of the year just like drags on. And this is coming from a guy who loves baseball too, and it's just like, dude, the year just drags on. But that 5-month period of football, it just goes by in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it feels like it's literally the shortest season out of all the sports, but you just enjoy it for the time being. Like even though in Texas it get hot and you got to go to some high school football games and it's 100 degrees, it's still worth it at the end of the day because you get to watch some guys compete at that
Yeah.
level and then further on.
Well, I mean, to be fair, to be honest with you, this is the first, as we were talking about, like before we got on, how you were saying that you don't remember the last time you were looking forward to a season like this. I feel your pain, dude, because I haven't enjoyed a football season since 2015. So, that was the last time the Jets were over 500. So I'm really hoping that at least like I have like two goals for the Jets. It's like maybe make the playoffs, maybe win a game in the playoffs. And I got low standards for this year, but I'm super excited.
I feel you. Yeah, that's something that the Cowboys have just got in common. It's like there's a high hopes for this season. There's no like ifs, ands, or
For
buts.
sure, man.
You're just ready for it. But I want to get into my first question. So you just talked about tacos. What is like the best taco place you ever been to in your area?
Okay. So I hope that someone who knows this place will know this, but there's a place in Brooklyn, in New York, in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn called Oxomoco. It's like an Oaxacan style Mexican restaurant. The best tacos I've ever had, hands down. I mean, that is like, I'm so glad that you asked me that question because that place, I can't get enough of that place. I tell my fiance, I'm every time we have tacos, I'll be like, they're good, but they're not like Oxmoco tacos. Those are just like out of this world. It has a Michelin star. They're just an unbelievable place.
What's your go-to plate there?
Uh, I don't know, dude. They have this what the heck is it? I'm trying to think of the name of the fish that it is. It's I can't think of it. It's not like a shark or anything like that, but it's
Mahi
I
Mahi?
can't believe,
I'm trying to
I
think
can't
of
believe what's up?
I'm trying to think of some fish that it could
I
be.
can't believe a swordfish taco. I don't know why that took me so long to figure out, but they have this swordfish taco, dude, that like I had the last time we went, I had it, and then I had to ask the waitress to come over, and I was like, I need another order of those tacos. They were just unbelievable. They have so many cool things there, and that is like I can't. I could honestly, if that was the only question you asked, you could fill out an entire episode of me just talking about those tacos.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to put this into a reel because I want like see if there's some people. I got a couple podcaster friends that are from New York, so they probably know what you're talking about
I
too.
really hope, and honestly, if they don't know about it, I hope they check it out because it deserves all the recognition that I'm giving it.
Yeah. And what's the name of the place?
Oxomoco.
Shout out to Oxomoco. So yeah, if I ever go to New York one day, I'm gonna have to try it out for sure.
Well, I'm going with you if you're coming.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up for sure. Yes, sir. So my next question: how did you get into like doing mock draft content?
You know, when I first started this channel, I'm actually coming up January 2nd will be the 4-year anniversary of the whole idea itself. I've gone through a couple rebrands and stuff since then, but I just always loved whenever we would talk. It was initially a podcast, like a YouTube podcast. So we would always talk about, like what's going on in the NFL, MLB, NBA, all that kind of good stuff. But no content really made me like excited more than like, I don't know what it is about mock drafts and like evaluating players, but it just makes me super excited for like to see. I guess maybe the thrill comes from like if I see how good that player is in college, I think that he's going to be a good player, and then he pans out. Then I'm like, in a weird like selfish way, I'm like, well, I was right about that guy. But that's what it was. Like I was doing a bunch of content really last year before the 2022 draft was when I kind of switched everything over to like draft content, purely NFL, player profiles, all that kind of stuff, ranking videos. And I've just never been happier making content doing that. There's something about it. And another thing about it too is that it gets people talking. That's what I love. I always love to have like a community discussion about something. Of course, Aaron, I'm sure you're there too. You get those bad comments every once in a while, but you just keep on rolling through it. And there's just something about it. It's like a certain sense of community, and it's super cool. And there's no community that's as uptight and furious all the time as the mock draft community.
Yeah, it's a crazy it's positive, but there's some negativity and everything. They're like, you're wrong about this guy and all this.
Oh yeah, all the time. It's like they know. And the best part is my rebuttal to everyone's statement is always like, if they don't agree with me, they're like, no, this is what's going to happen. And I'm like, listen, you could be right. I could be right. At the end of the day, we're probably all going to be wrong. That's exactly how I look at it.
Yeah, even the so-called draft experts out there are going to be wrong too.
Exactly. So. I always say that there's 2 jobs in America where you could be wrong almost all the time and still get paid, and that's draft analysts and weathermen.
Yeah, that's true. That's the crazy thing about weatherman. They can say anything and they're gonna say something, but he's gonna be there tomorrow, the next day.
Yeah, who's gonna check him? Who's gonna be like, oh, this guy's not right? Like my meteorologist at home said it's gonna be that. No one's gonna check him on that.
He's probably got it easier than us trying to do mock drafts and stuff.
Probably.
But mock draft is fun. I literally have a magazine right next to me right here.
Love it. Maybe I'll come out with my own magazine one day. Who knows?
I'll definitely read it. I think a lot of people would definitely check it out.
As long as I got you reading it, Aaron, that's all that matters, dude.
If you ever need any help on it, just let me know. I got you. Yes. But who has been your biggest influence when it comes to creating content?
I never really I guess some guys that I take some inspiration from. I never try and model myself after one person, but I like to look and see what those guys are doing. I really appreciate Bengal on YouTube. He does a lot of it's completely different content. He does do a lot of draft content when the draft season comes. He does a lot of Madden rebuilds and Madden gameplay and stuff like that. Also, Brett Coleman is another guy that is just off the charts, incredibly smart. That franchise guy is another one. The guys like that are just they're incredible in their niche, in their craft. I've never seen someone break down plays and break down offenses and defenses like Brett Coleman. That guy just has a huge talent for it. And, those are guys that I try and think to myself, I'm like, if you stick with it for a long enough time in a specific niche, then you're going to get as big as those people.
Absolutely. My next question is, a lot of us content creators kind of get that writer's block or that content block. What do you do like this to clear your mind?
Dude, I'm telling you, it's tough. The off season, I mean, I'm chilling when it comes to content between this time or even maybe a few weeks ago. Really, once August comes till the end of April, I'm good. I have a ton of content to make. It's that 4-month period where really nothing's going on that it really sucks. But I usually try and take as much time off during that and just kind of clear my head. And then what I'll do to kind of prevent writer's block will be, I'll take that time. I won't record anything, won't make any content, but I'll plan out my next year. So that way I won't have the writer's block once the time comes. So I already have, I know that you saw the tweet. I saw you retweet it before. Shout out Aaron with the retweet. I already have a schedule for the next 2 weeks out on Twitter right now about what content I'm going to do. So the writer's block never really comes, thank God. But if it does, I kind of just let it go. I'm like, you know what? The ideas will come. I'm not going to stress it. With football, there's always going to be something to talk about.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's new audience coming in. They could check out some of your other videos, and then for the time being, now they'd be like, "Oh, this guy got some great content," and then they'll be like, when you come out with some more content, like, okay, now you get gaining new people.
Exactly. It's been, the ideas, are one thing that I talk about with a few guys is that it's very tough to make original content when it comes to football. Very tough because everything's already been done. Like I had this genius idea last year to do player profiles for the upcoming draft. And then, you search player profiles in the search bar on YouTube, and it's like, not only me, there's like 500 other people that have done it. And you're like, oh, wow, I guess it wasn't an original idea. So, that's what really, you have to make yourself different. You have to stand out from the rest. And that's how you get the success. That's how you get the people going, wow, like, I did a player profile on Jalen Carter and that guy got 500 views, but this guy has 30,000. Like, what makes it different? So you got to find what makes it different, and you got to enjoy it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, because people can tell. You honestly just got to be authentic self at the end of the day. Like, you can't sound like somebody else, and they're like, okay, he's trying to be this person. Then you put in that circle, like, okay, he wants to be this, want to be somebody. So you just got to be authentic self. I think
100%.
So getting into to the Jets, because that's your favorite team. So Jets, Jets. So.
Oh God, the amount of times I've heard that, it's so sad. What a sad chant.
Hey, mine are the Dallas Cowboys, so you don't know how many times I hear "We them boys" and from people that are not Cowboy fans. So they're like, "We them boys, huh?" I'm like,
that was like the worst song that ever could have came out for like the Dallas Cowboy fans. We them boys.
And the bad thing is, Wiz Khalifa's not even a Cowboy fan.
Oh my God.
So it doesn't make it any better. But so I want to get, what is your thoughts on like the Jets being on Hard Knocks?
Let's face it. This is a great young Jets team. It is. And they showed a ton of promise last year. And I honestly came out and said a bunch of times after the season that I really feel like with the defense that the Jets had, the budding superstars on offense, they were really a good they were competent quarterback play last year away from being an 11-win team. So the fact that, Aaron Rodgers might not be able to do exactly what he was able to do a few years ago, but that you're going to get one thing from Aaron Rodgers, and that's competent quarterback play. So I'm super excited about that. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers came to the Jets is also the reason why the Jets have so many primetime games. And that's really the reason why they got on Hard Knocks. And I think that the Jets being on Hard Knocks is great, honestly. I think that this is like I said before, a young team that we don't really know too much about these. Like, as Jet fans, like, I don't really know too much about Garrett Wilson before Hard Knocks started. It's a really nice way to kind of understand your team, to see how the mechanics of the offseason work. And it's great to see another side of Aaron Rodgers as well, because Rodgers is a guy that's like universally hated by a lot of people, whether it be because he was, destroying the Chicago Bears for his entire time in Green Bay. The Bears fans hate him for that, whether it be his political views, don't want to get into that, obviously, or whether it be just, people think he's an ass off the field. It's nice to kind of see how much fire and passion he has for the game and how much he wants the younger guys to do well and how much it looks like he enjoys being a Jet. So that was like really nice to see throughout Hard Knocks up until this point. And the only thing that I don't like about it is the Jets are getting so much press. And if one thing goes wrong, then they wind up being like 7-10 and they're just a laughing stock again.
Yeah, that's the thing about Hard Knocks is like, it's good to see what your team is about, but everybody like have their eyes on you because you're going to have content and people posting about, oh, see, Hard Knocks was a bad thing for them and everything. So you're like, dang.
Yeah, they've gotten some good They've gotten some good sound bites out of it. I mean, the latest one with Aaron Rodgers and Jihad Ward, that one was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. The show some respect when he goes, "Hey, show some respect." That had me cracking up pretty good. Like that was a good line. It's nice to see. Like, I mean, that instance I guess wasn't the nicest instance, but like it's kind of fun to see the chirping on the field and all that. I think Hard Knocks is a great series, and I think it was nice to see, since the Jets look like they're turning a corner as a franchise. It's nice to see them get some recognition. This is also a team that hasn't had like a Sunday night or Monday night football game in like 4 years. So it's nice to see them like get some recognition as a young budding team.
Yeah, and it's kind of like good to see the Jets from like this time around on Hard Knocks. Then it was a lot different from the other time with Rex Ryan and all that. It was kind of it's like a 360 compared to what they were back then.
100%, definitely.
Yeah. I think I brought up some bad memories or something.
Yeah, I got some Vietnam flashbacks there when you said that.
Oh, that's my bad. That is my bad. But kind of going into like a little bit of the draft. So the Jets drafted Will McDonald in the first round, Joe Tippmann. There's some other guys. But which player was your favorite out of those draft picks?
It was definitely Tippmann for me. Israel Abanikanda was it was an interesting pick for me because at the time with Abanikanda on the roster, they already had like 5 bona fide guys that could get meaningful snaps and meaningful touches. So I thought it was a little bit of a head scratcher, but you see what the Jets are trying to build in their backfield now, the depth chart with, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, you have Michael Carter, now you have Abanikanda as well. I mean, that's a really, really nice backfield to have. I honestly thought that Michael Carter was going to get traded or cut. He seemed like the odd man out, but Tippmann was definitely my favorite pick. I thought right away, even I was talking about during draft time last year, that Tippmann is a really, really interior, versatile guard player because he's got incredible length and athleticism for the center position. So the fact that the Jets have been trying him out all over the interior of the offensive line is no surprise to me. 6'6", 315, 320, depending on the day. I mean, that's fantastic size for a guard. His athleticism, his RAS score was fantastic. So it reminds me of like a Landon Dickerson type player where Dickerson was basically a center his entire collegiate career. And then he came up for the Eagles and now he's a Pro Bowl level guard. So having that versatility definitely made the pick that much better. Will McDonald, I'm not going to lie, I was not a fan of the pick at first. I still really am kind of on the fence about it. I see the athleticism. I see the get off speed that he has and the spin move. I thought that there was a more needs at the time. Like I would have loved to see like a safety. I would have loved to see an offensive tackle at that point. But I'm going to keep an open mind. I think he's going to be great in the role that he has. But 2 straight years of edge rushers in the first round kind of was a head scratcher for me.
Yeah, you beat me to my question about the head scratcher. Because, we had that conversation about it. We were saying that the Jets could go with a safety, and there was a couple of safety that came to mind. And they went, I like y'all got Jermaine Johnson, who was a really good pick last year.
Love Jermaine Johnson, man. He, a lot of people will look at his stats from last year and go, wow, he didn't really have any production whatsoever. But you look at his pressure rate, his QB hits, QB hurries, his sacks, in the amount of snaps that he played over a full season. Those are like, honestly, almost like Micah Parsons numbers, like over a full season. It really is. So I'm really excited to see him step into an expanded role this year. And then who knows, by the end of this year, you might have a young, fantastic edge rushing duo in Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald that is super young and you'll have for years to come. So that's why I'm trying to keep an open mind about it. And also Robert Saleh is the type of head coach that loves to keep a 9-man rotation on the defensive line. So you're going to have all those bodies to keep everyone fresh.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely, because he's a defensive-minded coach, he definitely wants to have that depth and rotation. So my next question on that is, what is your early prediction for the Jets in the AFC East this year?
Very tentatively, I dropped my records prediction video a couple weeks ago, I believe. I have them at a very tentative 11-6, and I have them that's tied for first in the division that I had. I had the Bills winning the division with the same record. So I think the Jets will be a wild card team. I think that's a any seed in the wild card is a really good basement for the Jets in terms of best case scenario. This is the toughest conference we've ever seen. I mean, it really is. Like, I can't think of any time in football history where you have, 14 of 16 teams in a conference that legitimately could be a playoff team. Like, I haven't seen that in a really, really long time or ever. So I think really everything is in place for a Super Bowl run from the Jets. And that's a wild sentence coming out of my mouth. I never thought in my lifetime I'd be able to say something like that. But this team is going to win and lose off of the play of the offensive line. That has been my biggest concern the whole offseason. Joe Douglas has claimed to be a guy ever since he took over as the GM of the Jets. He's claimed to be an offensive line guy. And he's really swung and missed on pretty much every single offensive line pick that he's made. So I'm a little nervous for that. Tippmann looks like a sure thing. Carter Warren has really showed like a decent amount of stuff in camp to be like a solid swing tackle. But I mean, your top 4 tackles going into the season being Dwayne Brown, Max Mitchell, Mekhi Becton, and Billy Turner. That's not great, man. That's not great. I mean, if they could play average football, I really think the Jets do win 10 or 11 games. But if they're struggling, then I think the Jets are in the basement of the AFC East with like 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah. I forget that Dwayne Brown's still in the league. I feel like he's been playing forever.
Yeah. He has been playing forever.
Yeah.
I think I was like, how old am I now? I think I was like 12 or 11 when Dwayne Brown came into the NFL.
Yeah. It's been. I think he's been in the league since 2007 or 2008.
Yeah.
To think about it, that's been a long. Because now even Jason Peters is still playing. He's still playing out at a solid level for being.
I was going to say he was pretty good for the Cowboys last year.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind him back on the team because I know it's between us and the Jets and a couple other teams that are like that could be a possibility for him. Because right now I like Tyron, but he's not going to be healthy for them every game or so. So it's just good to have that sub guy that can take over for a little bit.
Yeah, it's good. I'm actually a guy. It's funny. I've never played offensive line, never played defensive line in my life, unless it's like a pickup game or something. But I'm all about the lines. I fully believe in Howie Roseman's, mentality where it's like, you win the games and lose the games in the trenches. So it really shows out. And I mean, he's had success over the past few years with his picks 100% on the line. And, I wish the Jets kind of thought a little bit more like that, especially claiming to be an offensive line guru where we haven't really seen a great pick yet. I wish they kind of stuck to their guns a little bit on that, but I'm going to keep an open mind. Like I said, usually I'm extremely pessimistic when it comes to the Jets, but I'm going to try and keep an open mind this year.
So when it comes to Joe Douglas, he said he's like the O-line guru. That's kind of a bold statement.
Oh, that's not really what he said, but we've been hearing since he was hired that he's an offensive lineman specialist, and he's kind of, been on almost every single pick. It hasn't been great. I think he tries to psych himself out or outsmart everyone where like, instead of taking a sure thing in the first round, he's like, let me find like the 4th round tackle that'll be a starter 15 years from now. Like, something like that.
Just find a good solid offensive line.
That's it, man. We're begging for that. That's all we want.
That's all what any team wants, because when it comes to like offensive linemen, you find like out of the first round, you may find one really good quality one, and then like in the early, for some reason the sweet spot is like the 2nd and 4th round. You'll find those dominant rough
great guys.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for Joe Tippmann, 2nd round pick, line versatility. I'm just hoping that he pans out as a good player.
Wisconsin does bring out some great offensive linemen.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
So that's my thing on that. Like, if you want a good offensive line, go Big Ten, and that's like the safe pick. They may not be a Pro Bowler, but they'll give you some good quality years on your team.
That's all I'm asking for.
Because I think a lot of people just fall in love with, like, they see these guys that are like super, like 6'8", weighing 350, and they're like, what about a guy that does a good size but has good lateral quickness, got a good hand position and everything, like the simple things. He may not be the the sexy pick, but he does what he got to do.
That's so funny that you say that, because every time that I do a mock draft and it's like an offensive lineman for a team that really doesn't want an offensive line, or the team fan base that doesn't want an offensive lineman, I'm always like, I know it's not the sexy pick, but like, this is essential to winning football games. Like, I thought when Tennessee took Peter Skoronski in the first round, I was like, oh, A+. I was like, what a pick, and everyone's like, who the hell is this guy? And I'm like, oh, only the most technically refined offensive line prospect in the draft. Like, that was a great pick.
Yeah, I was literally in a draft show with the network I'm a part of, and one of the Titans fan, he was just making fun of it because he was like, that seemed like a Vrabel pick. We would pick some big white guy out of the big team.
That is a Mike Vrabel pick.
Yeah. That's when he said that. I didn't even try to explain anything. I was just busting out laughing when he said that. But getting into the draft. So at the 2024 draft, I know that's a far away from now, but what are some like 5 college football players that people should keep an eye on?
So I'm thinking more, I have my list. I've had, you said it's far away. For some people, it's far away. For me, it starts tomorrow. Yeah. For real. Like, that's it. Week 0, I usually let slide in the first couple of games, but like week 1 of college football, I am glued to my TV trying to check out every prospect that I can. It's a sickness, early as Aaron, but 5 guys that I'm looking for. 2 guys actually on Georgia. Kamari Lassiter is some guy that I'm really looking at to be right now on some networks. He's projected to be like a day 2 pick, but this is a wide open cornerback class this year. And Georgia's really looking for that dog, no pun intended, to be that leader of that secondary. And he's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the speed. I really, really think that he's going to show out. And really, my number 1 corner, my number 1 and number 2 corner on my list right now is Kool-Aid McKinstry and Kalen King. So that top 3 is wide open for the most part. So if Lassiter really kind of like shows out, and you always got to remember, cream of the crop football, you're playing in the SEC. If a cornerback, really shows out, that's probably your best bet right there, because that is some of the toughest competition you can go up against. And then another bulldog I have is Lad McConkey as well, a wide receiver, 6 foot, 185 pounds. Really had a nice year last year. I know Georgia's not really like you're never going to see too many 1,000-yard receivers or 1,200-yard receivers on Georgia. You're going to get a lot of really solid guys that have in the 6, 7, 800-yard range, like close to 10 touchdowns. McConkey is just, he's super, super gifted as a pass catcher, as a route runner as well. I believe he averaged 19.1 yards per catch last year, which is close to tops in the entire nation. So super underrated wide receiver there. Another year of eligibility as well. So there's no guarantee that he comes out, especially with, especially guys like Marvin Harrison and all these other guys coming out this year. Like, I would stick back and maybe win another national championship at Georgia and then boost my my draft stock. But I'm also looking at Riley Leonard from Duke, quarterback from Duke's great size, 6'4", 212, 220 pounds, around that range. Just reminds me of a more technically refined Daniel Jones. And I know that doesn't really scream sexy to a lot of people, but dude has an incredible arm. He's been proving the doubters wrong since day 1. He had a really good year last year for a not so great football program as well. So I'm looking for him to have a super big year there. Jaheim Bell is someone that I'm really looking at as well. Tight end, who's a little bit on the smaller side, 6'3", 240 pounds. Has decent enough speed to make the transition to the NFL as a wide receiver. Transferring from South Carolina to FSU. Now he's going to be more in the spotlight. He's not going to be the number 1 target in that offense. You get Trey Benson, you have Johnny Wilson, and then you have a Heisman candidate in Devin Travis throwing to him. So I think a lot of big things are going to happen for Jaheim Bell this year. And then my last guy here is Cooper Beebe from Kansas State. I said, I hate to toot my own horn, I really do, but because nothing's happened yet. But when I was doing my week 1 mock draft from the beginning of last year, I said that Cooper Beebe was going to be a first-round pick. And He has incredible line versatility. He's incredibly smooth. He is this year's Peter Skoronski, but possibly on a better level. And he went back to school for one more year, kind of like an Ola Fashanu thing. If Ola Fashanu went to the draft last year, I think he would have been the first tackle taken off the board, and I think Cooper Beebe would have been the first guard taken off the board. So those are two guys that are draft eligible that will probably enter the draft this year. But he's super, super talented, and I know offensive linemen, you can't really spotlight an offensive lineman, but I am a line guy, so I had to squeak one of them in there.
Oh, you got to have some offensive line because that's one of the most important parts of the offense.
Absolutely.
Like, somebody's got to block to protect the quarterback some way. Yeah. But you were speaking about Heisman. So Caleb Williams won the Heisman. And the last time a player, I actually had to look it up, won the Heisman twice in a row was 49 years ago with Archie Griffin from Ohio State. So do you think almost said Archie Griffin, do you think Caleb Williams could win the Heisman twice? Or if not, who do you think will win the Heisman this year?
Yeah, I think that it's so tough not to say like Caleb Williams will win it again because he's just like, let's face it. I know a lot of people give him so much credit and, rightfully so. A lot of people kind of blow everything out of proportion. He does have a great team around him, had a great team around him last year as well, but he's got to be the favorite. I mean, he's one of the best quarterback prospects I've ever seen. I haven't been doing evaluations only for 3 years, but I easily the best quarterback prospect I've ever looked at. I mean, I shouldn't say that. He's close to Trevor Lawrence. He's awesome. I think that he's the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman, but there's a lot of variables this year. There's a lot of guys that I think could lead their team potentially to the college football playoffs as a surprise that could win the Heisman for sure. So I'm not going to rule out someone else winning it, but I think he is the odds-on favorite for sure.
Yeah, I think honestly, he could win it. It's just like there's going to be some player that might surprise us. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there because it's a quarterback heavy, but there could be that receiver like a Marvin Harrison Jr. There's some other guys that you could think of.
Yeah, I got a couple guys here if you were interested. And
yeah.
So I got 4 guys on the list. Like you mentioned, a couple quarterbacks. I mentioned him before. Devin Travis is someone that I think that could lead this Florida State team. Probably has the 5th or 6th most talented roster in college football. There's 1st, 2nd, 3rd round picks all over this roster. FSU is officially back, I think, at least for this year. Devin Travis, a really nice year last year. He's only going to get better. He got more weapons as well. He's got a potential 1st round back in his backfield. He's got a potential 1st round wide receiver in Johnny Wilson. I think he's going to make big things happen. Another quarterback is Jaden Daniels, LSU. I think that he has to really come a long way as a passer to really. I mean, he only averaged, I believe, 51% of his passes last year were between 0 and 9 yards away from the line of scrimmage. So he really has to start expanding the field a little bit. Kind of throwing the ball a little bit further downfield. But there's no question that he's an elite athlete. He's fantastic with the ball in his hands in the open field. So if LSU, finishes in the top 5, top 10, I could easily see him sneaking in a Heisman win there. And then a couple other positions as well. Braylon Allen is someone that looks like Jonathan Taylor 2.0, but bigger and stronger. So that guy could easily be this year's Bijan Robinson. And I think Bijan Robinson's a better all-around prospect, but I think Braylon Allen is a better runner, probably the best runner in college football. And then, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr., to no one's surprise. I mean, this guy is primed for the biggest college football year that we've ever seen from a wide receiver. I mean, and maybe not in terms of numbers, but just everyone's eyes will be on Marvin Harrison Jr. every single game. I've never seen someone in college run a route so smoothly, great hands, freakish athletic ability. I mean, the only knock against him that apparently he's worked on this offseason was his speed. And apparently, I don't know. I didn't see any video confirmation, but he was working out during Ohio State's pro day, and he was clocked at like 22.7 miles per hour or something. So obviously, he's a lot faster than he was last year. So but I mean, easily for me, the best wide receiver prospect ever. I'll just even go out and say like all time. I don't think there'll be anyone as hyped up ever as Marvin Harrison Jr. for a draft up until this point.
Yeah. Well, it's in his blood too. If some people don't know, his dad was a really great receiver for the Colts.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell by the name, Marvin Harrison Sr. was a Hall of Fame wide receiver, so he's definitely got the pedigree.
Yeah, there's some guys that were a little too young to know who Marvin Harrison, but do your research. He was a really good receiver for the Colts for a long time. And I know a lot of people. Yeah, I did hear a lot of people talk about his speed, but he was an excellent route runner. Yeah. When you come to Ohio State, for these past few years, a lot of the receivers have been really good route runners and doing like that short area quickness. Of like they find those type of receivers. Like
it's gonna be interesting. I feel like the wide receiving core is the worst that Marvin Harrison Jr. has had around him. So this is really the year that we'll see just how good he is. Because, a couple of years ago, he had, Olave, JSN, Garrett Wilson around him, Jeremy Ruckert. Last year, he had Cade Stover. He had Julian Fleming and Emeka Egbuka as well. And, he's got Julian Fleming and Emeka Egbuka there too. Cade Stover back. But, I feel like this is really his chance. He doesn't have JSN anymore, even though JSN didn't really play last year. But this is his time to shine, man. I don't want to say that he's going to receive 2,000 yards. I think that's completely egregious for a wide receiver in college to do. But if he stays healthy and plays the majority of the games, I could easily see him having 1,700, 1,800 yards. He's just that good. It's not even comparable in the air too. You just throw the ball up to him. 9 times out of 10, he's going to come down with a contested catch too. He's freakish. He's a freak. That's all. That's the only way I could describe it, is being as respectful as possible.
Yeah, the guy's I think 6'3", 6'4".
6'4", 215, 220, around there. He's a stud.
Those are definitely some guys that we need to be on the lookout for. I'll probably message you later just so we could make a post about it just so people can keep an eye for it.
100%, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So my last question, I really appreciate you being on the show first off.
Of course, man. I wouldn't miss it.
Yes, sir. So my last question is, everybody's talking about Caleb Williams, but who do you think is the next guy that could be that pro-ready type of quarterback based on the film from last year?
Everyone's going to say Drake May, and that's completely understandable and completely justifiable. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Michael Penix Jr. is my next guy up that's completely pro-ready. If you watch, I know Penix Jr. comes with the age concern. He's going to be 24 when his NFL career starts. Oh, so old. He's going to be 24. He's a lefty. He comes with injury concerns. Be that as it may, if you watch just the placement of the football when he throws is probably better than Caleb Williams. I think he is the best pure placer of the football in all of college football. He takes care of the football too. 1.7 turnover worthy play rate as well was one of the lowest in the country. The guy just knows how to take care of the football. He knows how to escape pressure, and he knows where to place the football. I think he would, and for anyone that is willing to draft him, I think that they would be getting a fantastic pro-ready player from day one. But on the other side, Drake May is another guy too, 6'4", 225 pounds, cannon for a right arm, had the best deep ball accuracy grade of anyone in college football. I believe it was absurd. It was a 93 or something, like a 93 PFF grade for his downfield passing, which is I've never seen. I don't think I've ever seen a grade over 80. So that was just insane. He's fantastic as well. And I'm another guy who could probably win the Heisman if he has a similar year to last year.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that you could think of. And I like to see another lefty quarterback. I'm left-handed. It's good to see one. There's not too many of them at the quarterback level. I think the only one in the league right now is just Tua, and there may be another one.
I think this is gonna kill me. I know that there's a backup quarterback that's left-handed. It's not Jake Luton, is it?
I think it is Jake Luton.
I think it's Jake Luton. Okay, and that's it. That's all you got. That's the only representation you have, Aaron, as a left-hander.
Yeah,
it's not great.
It's rough out there. Like everybody else that's left-handed is playing another position that you wouldn't even know unless they throw the football or they tell you. It's like, man, there's not too many of them, but
no.
It's okay. But if Michael Penix could represent and do a great job in the NFL, hey, shout out to all the Southpaws out there. Hey, brother. Definitely appreciate you, bro, to be on the show. We definitely got to get you on. Definitely talk more about college football when it comes to the draft and everything.
Of course, man. Whenever you want to have me, as long as I can fit it into my schedule, I will be right here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. But again, where can they catch you out and like all the social medias where they can follow you and check out all your content?
Pretty simple. It's on YouTube, the Mock Draft Guy. It's at the little @ underneath my face right now. That's also where you could find me on Twitter, and then Instagram is a little different. It's just the Mock Draft Guy. And then even on TikTok, which I do post, like I post every once in a while. I think they're pretty cool. I just post some random things that I see that I remember, some throwbacks. That's also the Mock Draft Guy YT on TikTok as well.
Yeah, I'm slowly trying to get into TikTok, but I need to post in there. It's just kind of hard because you're trying to get on Instagram, you try to get on Twitter.
Dude, I'm telling you, I have to allocate like an hour of my day. If I want to post something on YouTube, then I have to post on Instagram, then on TikTok, then on Twitter. It's like it takes like an hour for everything.
It takes forever, like you're saying. It's just like, dang, can all of them just be bonded all on one thing?
It's just one shot. Come on.
At the end of the day, that's where everybody's gonna be watching. Like, y'all just come together. I just post it. Don't have to be taking like 2 to 3 hours, and because you got to edit too. But I can go on another tangent. But I appreciate you, bro, for being on the show.
Of course, man, Aaron. Anytime, a real pleasure. Thank you for having me on, dude.
Yes, sir. Well, this has been Tacos and Touchdowns. Y'all have a good day. Peace.